Hello guys, it's Keith here, and here's a quick preview of what to expect from the upcoming video. We're gonna have some thermobaric bombs dropped onto positions, an intense fight into securing the next objectives, a special appearance from the AC-130 Ghostrider, and of course, dealing with an enemy massive airdrop. There's gonna be a lot more to come, so I hope you stay and enjoy the show. This has been one of the most intense games of all my time playing Broken Arrow, so I'm super excited to be showing you this one. Alright, so let's get into the game. Initially I wanted to play on the left side here, where I think the deck is well suited for the limited cover provided in the map, but my teammate here has other plans, so we're going to be forced out of that initial deployment zone, and that's why we're going to end up playing on the center here. If you've been playing on Suwalki Gap Center, you know it's filled with dense urban buildings, so it's going to make for a very grindy attritional warfare. I'm going to show you how you can take over this entire area with the Rangers. To start to take things off, we're going to come up with a F-22 Raptors here. Both of them is going to come out to challenge the airspace here. And we're going to be fighting against 4 enemy aircrafts, triple MiG-29K as well as the Su-35S. My Raptors are doing actually pretty well. At least one of them is managed to dispense most of its missiles, and it's going to help its wingmate out. The wingmate, this one however, is going to come into gun range contact. Gun contact against the orange plates Su-35. Just trying to narrowly miss this and dodge and weave the F-22 Raptor to avoid its gun and missiles, successfully dodging that missile and turning around just to make sure that I can fire at least one missile off towards the Pink's player's MiG-29K. Does manage to take it out, yes, and unfortunately we're gonna lose that Raptor to the purple player's Mi-8 Pachella. In this case, the purple player's Mi-8 does come equipped with the Eagle missile, so I was able to get a lock on the F-22 and take it out. Something to take note of for myself here is I need to learn how to micro my aircrafts better. Nevertheless, we've lost the air engagement, so that only means that the enemy has the sky secured for their helicopter deployments right now. As you can see, purple and orange player already deploying forward troops into our first sector to capture. On this map, on our side, the hotel sector is supposed to be our first area of contents, so we're gonna have to really push our forces in right now to recapture that zone. Purple player constantly just bringing in fresh reinforcements into hotel right now. You can see the VDV Dsh is already in position, so we're gonna have to be careful pushing our vehicles in that sector here. We're gonna have to really quickly retake hotel, because the longer we wait, the more time this allows the enemy to entrench their positions around hotel, and really it's just gonna make it difficult for us to push the rest of the game. I'm gonna be joined on the left here by my teammate Katz, who's playing in the green, dark green color here, and on the right side here is gonna be rebar 666, the neon green player here. Nevertheless, our Rangers are now coming up onto the front lines here, riding in this quick Strykers. We're gonna have a double Striker Dragoon trophy. Now these are just Strykers equipped with the 25mm Bushmaster assault cannon. So I'm gonna be using these Ranger teams here to try and push into hotel, recapture that section here. One of these Dragoon trophies is gonna be deploying the Rangers on the left side here, while the other one races up further ahead, trying to flank the enemy and secure better positions for our Rangers. You can see one of the Metis squad belonging to the purple player is already firing its missile towards my Striker. Rangers gonna creep up on the left here, using these buildings as cover to push up slowly ahead, while the Striker here has the range on the Metis squad and is gonna be engaging in a duel between the Metis and the Striker. The other striker on the right here is going to be depositing its rangers and pushing it from the right. The objective right now is to try to secure a flanking position against the purple players' units that are centered around hotel. A helmet on the side, on the right side here, you can see if I've already bring in some supplies and fresh reinforcements. Reinforcements are going to be the STT squads, who's going to be providing me stinger protection against the helicopters that the purple player has been using. The STTs are exceptional because they act as recon as well, having a longer range, able to detect further into the distance. So putting them into high rises is vital for making sure that I spot any enemy units coming in. You can see how I've deployed my forces further away from the point than blindly just rushing into hotel when you are contesting against a objective like that. I think it's far better for you to make a solid, protected push rather than just rushing everything you have into the sector. Because in this case, if I have rushed my Strykers and Rangers into the sectors, the VDV Dsh would have overwhelmed my Strykers. Right now, I'm just keeping my Strykers alive because with their 25mm autocannon support, they were able to provide a lot of damage on target against the enemy. A couple of Su-24 belonging to the pink player here just dropped off massive thermobaric bombs, completely wiping out dark green players, Cats' tank that's been supporting our push here into hotel. So right now I'm all alone for the time being, and I really have to make sure that we secure hotel as quickly as possible. Putting down a lot of fire, and even bringing up a couple of these Striker MCs to provide mortar support. You can see how accurate and efficient the mortars can be when assaulting against entrenched positions. So units such as the kornets, mentis, stingers, anything that is taking cover inside buildings, they're quickly going to be destroyed by these mortars here. So far we've eliminated most of the enemy forces. I think we're gonna really have to put some units in there to recapture that position as quickly as possible. As you can see on the top side here, the scores are relatively even in terms of kill scores, but because the enemy has a massive lead in securing most of the positions, so far we only have one objective secured. I believe the enemy's objective initially, the game plan was to quickly secure all positions and initiate the sudden death timer. That would have cost us the game, but thankfully one of our teammates here on the far left managed to secure the positions first before the enemy managed to reach it, and we're gonna help even things out by holding onto hotel right now. Teammate on the right, relatively passive, more passive than I would like him to be, so he's really gonna have to push the right side here to alleviate some of the pressures that we've been feeling on the other side of the map here. So far the Rangers are holding the positions very strongly. You can see I'm moving my units further up front. The STTs now in high raises able to spot the enemy boomerang that's coming towards our position, as well as providing support against the VDV Dsh, well, the VDV helicopters that's coming in. Cruise missiles inevitably is going to come in and try to strike my STTs. So a constant reminder would be to always move your units as much as you can and as often as you can, just to avoid getting targeted by enemy artillery such as these cruise missiles. Rangers in a perfect position to catch these VDV Dsh off guard out in the open, as well as the Striker still proving its value, providing that crucial 25mm autocannon support. Brought in a Chinook with its massive supply dump. The previous Helmet that has brought up my reinforcements is now waiting for the Chinook to deploy its supply. It's going to be used to ferry these supplies up to the front line. Keeping these units topped up is crucial, and as later stages in the game you can see how running out of ammunition is going to be well, it's going to be disastrous for my units fighting against constant assault. So far the purple and pink player has been constantly trying to recapture hotel by bringing in reinforcements. Our SCT was in position to persuade the enemy helicopter from dropping off more reinforcements, and that's going to buy us some time right now to stabilize the front and and really bring up more reinforcements. So that was a bit of an intense start of the game here. Really solid movements on my end, I think. We managed to keep most of our units, I think actually we managed to keep all of our units alive while destroying or wiping out the entire purple force that was holding Hotel. You can see how effective you can be when you have your infantry push up front on these urban areas, or having your vehicles with their deadlier weapon systems able to provide crucial support from range. While we're just securing the front line right now and a bit of lull in the video right now, I just want to say a quick thank you for those that have been watching my videos. I really appreciate you, and I hope to make more, really. Playing this game is pretty fun for me, and I like to try out different tactics. So if you enjoyed the video so far and you've watched the other videos and you like them too, consider subscribing, because that's going to help me out and give me the motivation to continue doing these videos for you. With that out of the way, I just want to say thank you once again, and let's get back into the game. So right now I'm just going to be focusing my units on the right side of the map here. Furthermore, my idea or intention really is to help stabilize Hotel for the time being until Cats here can bring up more reinforcements to secure Hotel. I want to be helping out on the right side because Ribara 666 here, the neon green ally here, is going to be the only one securing the right flank. So I'm going to be landing my rangers over to him to support his initiative into these 5 sectors on the map right now in the screen. You'll notice how I'm not charging into India for the time being. I want to push out my ranger Morts as well as the rangers units here beyond India to cover the approaches, to cover the roads leading into India, just to make sure that I stop any infantry or units belonging to the enemy player that's going to reinforce India. That's something called just setting the security around the objective. So making sure that you protect the lanes coming into the objective before you start securing it. Our forces is going to be engaged and spotted by the Spetsnaz GRU that's currently holding one of the high rises here. One of the tanks belonging to the pink player is going to be zooming across here, so we're going to make sure that we pay him a visit with our Rangers Morts and Rangers, as well as the Rangers Morts, all equipped with the Morts anti-tank rocket launcher here, so capable of really dishing out damage against these heavy enemy tanks. But you always want to make sure that you're hitting the tank from the sides here, and as you can see, the tank was able to absorb multiple shots on the front. But eventually we're gonna be able to whittle them out, and a lot of ammo was used, and that's why we're gonna have to bring up our supplies as quickly as possible. Hammett's gonna be zooming in and make sure that we really top up these units that are very quickly running low on ammo. Still, the idea about Rangers really is to keep them on the move at all times, making sure that they survive. You can see Cats once again lost all of his units holding Hotel, so thankfully I still have some over on this sector here. One of the Strykers here is going to be able to catch out the orange Transvedka, while the other Rangers are going to be holding out against the multiple VDV Dsh pushing in. So let's talk about a little bit about my game plan today. I really just want to push on the center here, leading towards the right side, going all the way to the end, to the Foxtrot point. Hopefully I'm going to be supported by my teammate here, who's going to be pushing the center along with me. We're going to have a stable front. But as you see in the video later on, that's not going to be something that I can do with. It's going to be a lot of hectic moments where my units are constantly surrounded on all sides. So it's definitely something that you should stay and watch. But nevertheless, we currently now have double Terminators charging down towards our units over on the left side here. Katz's units is still nowhere to be found. He's playing with the armored Baltic division, so a lot of his investments is in heavy tanks, so they're going to take some time for them to reach the front lines here. So it's really going to be down to me to hold this sector here, especially holding it down on Hotel. as we are constantly being engaged by the purple player here. Already anticipating the heavy tank presence that the enemy players might be throwing at me, I've already brought up a MH60 DAP. Now this DAP here is equipped with a couple of Hellfire missiles. That's certainly my go-to in this deck for long-range anti-tank support. The DAPs get able to weave between these buildings here and find line of sight, especially onto these Terminators. The Terminators are heavily armored on the front and sides, but they're definitely weak on the top armor. Not to mention they don't actually have any APS available to them. So the APS is going to be, the Hellfire is going to make short work out of these Terminators. You can see both Terminators are down. We have secured Hotel once more. My units are still alive and relatively healthy. Going to be bringing back the wounded units to the supply dump and get them patched up. Using helicopters on this map is a very dangerous gamble because of the availability of cover, especially in these high rises here. As you can see, both of these high rises here, it's already engaging my Strykers that have opted to push them up during this time. You can really comfortably sit Conkers and long-range ATGMs as well as man-pad squads inside these high rises to provide a very wide range of defense against any approaching units. That's why the mortars are here to really dislodge some of these units that are happily just camping inside these high rises here. So right now, with Cats bringing more reinforcements in terms of map pads here as well as the tank, we're going to be looking to shift most of my units over to the right side here. Rangers Small is definitely no match against Spetsnaz GRU, so a little bit unfortunate that I managed to lose that unit to a Spetsnaz team over there. But I'm going to be avenging our Rangers Small team with one of the Strykers coming to engage the Spetsnaz GRU. You can see right now we're getting hampered by a rain of mortar shells, and that's a telltale sign of the enemy using the Vasiliyok. The Vasiliyoks is the Russian mortars here, capable of really dishing out a lot of mortar rounds in a short amount of time, and that's something definitely we're gonna have to watch out for, because although each individual mortar rounds is not that damaging, with enough of them they're gonna be a threat to my infantry right now. So even more than usual now, I have to keep my forces moving, so darting in between these buildings and around, just to make sure that I keep them alive. You can see the Vasiliyoks is still constantly bombarding whatever positions that he thinks my units might have been. In this case, the Striker MCs was firing, and so he's targeting that. All the units that I have that was securing a hotel right now is going to be pushed up to the front on the right side to support my initiative into pushing the Bravo. With India secured now and held by my teammate in Neon Green, I'm more relaxed and more confident to focus right now on to Bravo and push up my units to capture the next sector for us. Otherwise, you can still see that I have some units further apart to make sure that I spot these enemy units that might have been coming in and assaulting our positions. In a map like this, you want to make sure that you have presence in some of these high rises here, and make sure you have a wide front that you could sort of anticipate and watch for the enemy's approaches. Really unfortunate that I lost my Striker there, the Striker Mortars to the enemy Conquerors team. Still holding on to the high rise there. We're going to try to eliminate the enemy attack helicopter that's coming in, but as you can see, my SDTs are actually undersupplied right now. They ran out of missiles, so we're going to have to really make sure that our SDTs get resupplied as soon as we can to protect ourselves against these helicopter incursions. On the map right now, you can see both purple and pink players holding the center, with me alone trying to contest against these two players here. I've had a good fight with these two players, I think. So far in this game, they've been using accurate positions. So something that I think it's sort of on an equal level. So a good gameplay for me today, and I really hope you enjoy it so far. To deal with these high rises here, we're gonna have to bring in our F-35A, who's gonna be bringing in double 2,000 kg bombs, and I'm gonna be using them to bomb these buildings here. We're also gonna be bringing in an F-16CJ for seed missions. So the CJ is gonna be providing cover for the F-35A, landing those beautiful shots. CJ is gonna push in a little bit deeper and score a kill onto the enemy sand batteries located further out in the back, which also exploding the supply dump that they were resupplying from. And that's the reason why you should never have your sand batteries turned on sitting directly onto the supply dump. That single explosion, I believe, took out multiple units belonging to the pink player. And if you look at the top scorecard here right now, we're definitely up in kills massively. But we're still gonna have a lot of work to do, as the enemy has a pretty solid hold on most of the positions here. And my teammates on the both my teammates on the left and right are really passive in terms of securing their sides of the positions right now. So it's really down to me right now to put up the pressure and make sure that we capture more of these zones for our team here. Cats once again struggling to hold on to Hotel, as his units are getting wiped out constantly from the constant assaults from the purple player. Spetsnaz GRU once again appears. My Ranger and Striker, they're getting really low on health. I'm going to have to be retreating these units and getting them away back to safety. The Spetsnaz GRU is definitely a very strong unit to fight against my units here. So going to be pulling them back to safety and trying to deal with the Spetsnaz with another fresh units. Wounded enemy units now suddenly appearing. It's gonna get into range of these rangers that's holding the position into the high rises here. Whatever units I have now, I'm gonna be pushing up in these buildings here. Gonna be using the buildings as cover as they creep from door to door into to closer to the enemy and pushing into Bravo eventually. Right now I'm just asking Cats if he's gonna need help with Hotel. Hopefully he doesn't, because I'm gonna have my hands full trying to push into Bravo and managing multiple enemies from different directions right now. But I do want Cats to really push his forces up so they can secure my left flank, so that I don't actually have to deal with enemy incursions coming from the left. Nevertheless, we're going to try to support him a little bit, because I can see that we've already lost a sector, and this single tank there is not going to be able to contend with the guards division there. Guards Mortar Strykers. At the same time, so I'm going to be bringing out another F-35A to bomb that guards unit, as well as the Conkers that is sitting there on the high rise. Currently the Conker's not doing any damage, but we're not going to leave it alone uncontested for now. CJ is going to come in once again to provide some cover. I'm not sure if that CJ successfully targeted any items for now. As you can see, once again, my supplies are quickly running out. Either they've been destroyed, or I haven't really been paying attention to my supply situation. So all these units that are battered and hampered right now, they're really just waiting for supplies. And any time that your units have to wait for the supplies to come, it's going to be time that the enemy is going to abuse and take advantage of putting on fresh units into position. So maintaining a healthy supply line and supply dumps is crucial in making sure that your units can get back into their fighting position as quickly as possible. As you can see, the MH60 SOAR now bringing in a 4,000 kilograms of supplies, as well as the second DAP now coming in to provide me some long-range anti-tank support. Once again, the purple player now is using the the cargo plane here to drop off some units. Purple player and pink is actually working pretty well together, so with one team, one player supporting the other. Both of them are going to be assaulting us throughout the entire time in this video in the center. You can see now with the supplies here, we're going to have to quickly move our units there to get resupplied, as the enemy now is starting to bring in heavy tanks to assault the Bravo position. score-wise in the middle of phase 2. We have dislodged the enemy from most of the positions right now, trying to stabilize the front, but we're definitely up in kill score, so that's something that we can look forward to in the end of the game here. Ranger Smalls is going to be firing a little bit slower now because of there's only 2 men left in that squad, and so it's not going to be fully maximizing its damage potential here. Gonna be putting my DAP in position now, waiting for these tanks to come into play. As the SDTs now, after being resupplied, is gonna be engaging the red players. Attack helicopters now coming in. You can see how crucial it is to have supplies. This SDT has already used up 4 of its Stinger missiles. While with the other SDT now able to really provide anti-air support, we've managed to take down both red and attack helicopters. The AP managed to put on a couple of Hellfire missiles, but suffers a sudden missile strike from the left side here. As you can see, the left side is once again under Purple's control. So Cat's really gonna have to put in the work to re-secure hotel and lock it down for the rest of the team. So these Rangers here is just gonna be using the tree line here and moving them across, and as the enemy's cruise missiles start flying in, really lucky that the cruise missiles missed almost everything. The only thing the cruise missiles successfully took out was the supply dump that was unfortunately very important to me, but thankfully we're going to be bringing up a new supply dump right now, making sure that we have multiple supplies for our units to take advantage of. As you can see right now on the right side here, rebar 666, the player in neon green, is actually making a push into the final sector on his side. So that's going to help us immensely actually. So with his action now pushing into the zone, it's going to draw the enemy's attention away from us for the time being. So it certainly gives us time to reorganize our units once again, get them resupplied, and then make another push back into the Bravo sector to control that once again. Playing with this deck was kind of fun for me. I think this was relatively, I believe it was either the second or third game that I've been using this deck here, and I'm still developing new ways to fully maximize its efficiency. So if you'd like to watch me develop the deck further and see what kind of gameplay that we can have, definitely something that you want to consider staying for. So right now the reinforcements are coming in right now. I also has a triple AA, as my Rangers now really pushing into the Bravo sector on foot. Gonna be pushing out these units. As you can see, I have this one camping out or trying to clear out these buildings further up ahead. Big interceptions here from my teammates in green here. Dark green Cats actually has a lot of packs behind the lines here, so it's going to be taking care of these SU-24s trying to make some bombing runs here. As our units push into Bravo, start to cap the area, gonna have to make sure that we move our units further out when pushing my Rangers across the buildings here to make sure that I prevent the enemy from even storming into Bravo in the first place. Supplies is always an issue here, that's why we're going to be bringing up an Hammett here and really dropping the supplies closer to the front this time. Make sure that my units won't have to travel too far. I'll use one of the Strykers to ferry them back to the supply dump here. Throughout this game I've been playing with Russian players here, and I couldn't really understand what the Russians were talking about, but I think that was a little bit of a trash talk. If you know what they're talking about, just let me know down in the comments. Otherwise I'm just gonna have to use Google Translate. And It's not always the most reliable, I think. Nevertheless, I can see that on the right side here, the narrow street between Bravo and India Point here, that's the main road that leads between these sectors here. I'm gonna be putting some units there to make sure that we intercept any enemy reinforcements that might be using this road coming towards our position here. Alpha now is being retaken by the enemy forces, so I'm gonna try to support the neon green player here by putting down some mortars and smoke so that my teammate here is gonna be able to push in their forces. And here we can see the Vasiliyoks that's been peppering our positions right now, so one of the Strykers is gonna be really quickly driving the Ranger Morse team directly into the building there. Then Ranger Morse are going to be able to take care of the Vasiliyoks. Constantly just going to be moving my units up front. You can see the Rangers Morse as well as the Rangers is gonna quickly wipe out both of these Vasiliyoks. We've temporarily dealt with the enemy's mortar threat now, and thanks to our teammates on the right who's been drawing the attention from the enemy from their side, we are able to comfortably push our units into position and closer towards the end in Foxtrot. Now, unfortunately, my helmet gets destroyed on the way back to the supply dump as the enemy artillery comes in and tries to strike the Cats Pack 2 that was stationed just behind the supplies there. Thankfully, the SAW hasn't yet deposited its supplies, so we're gonna be moving it to a new location, as well as bringing in a new helmet to ferry these supplies up to the front. Alpha now being resecured by my teammate Ribara here, so if you look at the score now, as we enter into phase 3, we've successfully depleted the enemy's monopoly on objective scores. As always, we're going to be pushing our STTs and anti-air squads up into the high-rise buildings to provide cover against enemy helicopters that might be coming in. And we can see Pink Players once again renewing its push towards Bravo right now with a single tank, as well as our Machiki squad that's going to be dealing with our infantries here. I'm going to have to be careful that my Ranger Morse will not be able to hold out against that Machiki squad. You can see earlier I mentioned on the right side here, the Pink player is also using the service road to deposit another Spetsnaz GRU team trying to provide range visions, but our rangers there is going to be moving into position and trying to take out the enemy boomerang. The Dragon Trophy now is also going to be providing some auto-cannon support, destroying the boomerang as it drops off his Spetsnaz GRU. Enemy tank now pushing into the center is going to be engaged by both of my ranger squads here, as my Stryker unfortunately used the wrong ammunition and manages to smoke out the Machiki squad instead of destroying it. Constantly purple and pink is now just trying to throw all of their units one by one into our positions here, and our rangers are in the perfect position to ambush these enemy forces. Strykers and rangers working together, just really quickly eliminating some of these enemy assets, and we'll be moving around using these streets here. I'm happy to see that Cats is also holding down onto a hotel right now, but I also think it's largely due to because, well, my units here are drawing a lot of the attention of the enemy players here. You can see red players with his helicopters now coming back into position. Our anti-air defenses is really lacking. So something that I'm gonna have to take a note of and learn from my mistakes here. Having crucial anti-air or adequate anti-air to protect your units from enemy helicopters is definitely something that you should always remember to do. You can see the F-16 CJ already over here trying to eliminate some of the seed here because I have the AC-130J Ghostrider trying to come in and provide some crucial support against these enemy tanks. I would love to use this more often, the AC-130, but realistically the only way you can use this is if the enemy seed is dealt with as much as we can. But one mistake that I do know is that I forgot the firing angle of the AC-130 is on its left side. So when you're trying to use the FC-130, make sure you push it to the right of your target. But we can also spot that the red player has a supply dump on the back here. F-22 Raptor is going to come in, destroys the enemy drones, as well as launching a missile towards one of the helicopters, exploding the supply dump, also taking out something else. But the F-35A is going to come in and finish the job by dumping two massive 2000 kg bombs directly on target, destroying all those helicopters. The F-22 Raptor is going to be engaged in a close-range dogfight against Purple's Su-35S, as we have a as our forces on the ground here starts to crumble against these heavy Terminators that are coming about. The F-22 unfortunately loses out against that engagement. The dogfight was won by the purple player's Su-35. Fortunately, we've got the revenge on him as one of the Stinger missiles takes it out as well. So once again, we've had a relatively successful or even trade there. But the enemy has successfully recaptured Bravo, so we're going to have to push in more units once again to resecure the position for our side. Orange player now supporting the purple player and pushing against Hotel, so hopefully Cats is going to be able to hold out against the renewed assault on Hotel right now. As our forces here running low on ammo, we don't have the firepower to engage the Terminators that's comfortably just sitting in position right now. Reinforcements are coming in the form of little birds now, carrying the Rangers Mortars as well as the DAP now, also bringing in the third Ranger Mortars. The enemy's pervasive use of armor here is really starting to hamper my units. Unfortunately, the Rotveka takes out my Striker MGS, so the Striker MGS hasn't been properly used by me in this game. Nevertheless, the ADAP is going to come under heavy fire from the enemy's Verba squads that's carrying camped out on the high-rises. They're going to try to really move the DAP away, but the Purple's attack helicopter comes in and takes it out. Laser-guided Mortars rounds are going to be landing onto the Rotveka team and successfully takes it out. So once again, we are quickly eliminating the enemy's position piecemeal, as Cats now is really hampering or engaging the orange players' units in these high-rises here. I'm going to be bringing in an F-35A here to support his tanks, but the enemy has beaten me to it as the red player drops two thermobaric bombs, destroys all of Cats' heavy tanks that were holding Hotel for us. The player also drops in more bombs here, and once again Cat's forces is completely wiped out, leaving only a Milan as well as an SD squad there holding the position in Hotel once again. Unfortunately missing that bombing strike thanks to my sniper's laser still pulling its trajectory off, so that's something that we should take note of as well. Nevertheless, a single T-72B3M is going to be pushing into kill zone really, so making a mistake of really pushing unsupported here. Our Rangers Maw is going to be launching a lot of rockets here, but against the heavy frontal armor here, the tank is going to be withstand some of the shots here. With the new Rangers Maws now coming into position, it's going to be engaging the tank on the side and taking that out. Rangers here intercepting one of the transports here. It's going to be engaging the multiple types of units that are now sitting inside the high-rise here. We're going to have to use our mortars to dislodge these enemy troops that are currently holding their position onto the ground here. The red player now trying to bomb the position where the Rangers Mons was, but thankfully we've already moved our Rangers away from that position. So we're going to be drawing that Rangers to a supply dump and make sure they get rearmed, re-healed up and fresh again back to the fight. As you can see in the distance here, 6 enemy Vasiliyoks has been brought up by the pink player, and it's gonna be shelling our positions here. And you're gonna want to see how crude this weapon system is, but it's effective. So thankfully I managed to spot that. My Rangers AGL is gonna be diving into one of those buildings here for cover. If my Rangers were still in that building there, they would have been quickly wiped out. Couple of Strykers now with fresh Rangers reinforcements going to be zooming all the way up to the front now. As the enemy does the same, the purple player now airdropping a bunch of VDV Dsh into position. We're gonna have to really dislodge them right now. Our units, the AGL is doing immense damage, but with the smoke cover, we're gonna have a temporary blindness towards the enemy. The Vasiliyoks is also providing a lot of smokes onto position, so right now we're in danger of losing Bravo. Thanks to these sudden VDV Dsh assaults here. Rangers Mortars trying to get away to safety as my Rangers reinforcements here is going to be deposited. The smoke actually is protected our Strykers a little bit, providing a little bit of cover. So the Rangers going to be using the cover right now and storm these buildings to try and clear out these VDV Dsh one by one. I still have an AGL in standby across the street here, so it's going to be protecting or providing some support for my Rangers trying to recapture Bravo. Here we go, the Rangers are now moving into these buildings here, and these VDV Dsh are definitely not a match against these Rangers in close range CQB. I'm sensing that the enemy might not have any infantry protecting the Vasiliyoks that are constantly shelling us, so using the speed of the Strykers here, we're going to be fast moving these Strykers and try to hunt down these Vasiliyoks that are constantly hampering our positions here. You can see the AGS now taking a lot of mortar fires from the enemy. Sneaky Dragoon Trophy is going to be engaging the enemy boomerang, taking that out as well. So all the while we have good units in good positions, capturing all these enemy pieces one at a time. Both of these Strykers are going to be catching up to these Vasiliyoks. Vasiliyoks being tracked, they're going to be slow moving and just an easy prey for these Strykers to hunt them down. All the while you can see how what a frantic game this has been, as all semblance of a concerted defensive line is quickly gone thanks to the enemy's constant assault and my units being out of position at all times. The enemy's airdrop into the position really throws my units off guard for a bit, but nevertheless we managed to secure a position as best as you can, and we're going to try to stabilize the front once more. Using the speed of the Striker Dragoons, we're able to catch these Vasiliyoks and successfully wipes them out. And once again, the enemy helicopters are coming in, and we don't really have an answer to these helicopters. Thankfully, my teammate on the right here has AA in position, and it's going to be providing support. The SDT running out of missiles is going to be failing to kill that MI8 now. It's dropped off its Spetsnaz VDV Spetsnaz team to try and hold down the Bravo position. My Striker Mortars now getting caught out of position. It's going to be engaged by the enemy helicopter running in. So you can see STT running out of missiles. So it's definitely a bad time for me right now. We're starting to lose Bravo. Hopefully I'm going to have to push my Rangers there, as my SOAR with multiple reinforcing units as well as another STT gets taken out as well. Thankfully the Chinook has better ECMs. It's going to be evading the last missile from the MI8 as the STT uses its machine gun to shoot down the helicopter. My Strykers has been really useful for me, capturing a lot of enemy pieces and, in the back line here, but unfortunately it's going to be finally taken out by the enemy helicopters. More VDV units are now into position in Bravo, so my Rangers Mortars now trying to engage the Rozvedka as the other Ranger reinforcement is coming in, really running at full speed towards the Bravo sector right now to try and recapture. We're about a minute left into the game, and score-wise, we're definitely at a very healthy lead right now. So, in a position to win this game, we want to capture as much points as we can and deny the enemy as many as we can as well. Double DAP now flying overhead, making sure that we play them safe, as the enemy might still have anti-air as a Panzer on the far right there comes into view. So our DAP here is gonna have to dive down into low altitude and evade that that very dangerous unit. Over in Bravo, the Rangers now pushing into position to engage the Rozvedka teams. Definitely a stronger opponent against the Rozvedka, so we're gonna have no problem dealing with that threat here. 15 seconds left on the clock, and we will have everything coming up against us right now as VDV Dsh landing once again into the backline sectors here. A little bit too late to really influence the outcome of the game. And there we have it. At the end of the game, what a intense session it is, and I was really surprised to find out that I actually have 15,400 kills, 7,260 deaths, amazing ratio of 2.12, plenty of medals, and we definitely carried the team there as our forces, our Rangers led the way all the way and secured the win. One of the most intense game. I certainly hope you enjoyed watching that. Let me know in the comments below, how do you think I did, what I could have done better, and as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.